Gabe Dell. Gabe Dell. Need you ringside in the makeup ring. Class 2 exhibition, Oslin Topper, Michaela Burrier, and Gabe Dell. Second entry, ringside. Attention in the cattle barn, attention in the cattle barn. If there is any parent, 4-H'er who has aged out, that is back in the show area, setup area, that would have some time to come down and help in the ring, we're going to need some help ringside, and we're also going to need some help opening gates and lining up 4-H'ers. Again, if we have any 4-H'ers that have aged out or any parents that can come and support us with some ring help, we'd be greatly appreciative. Thank you. We need Class 2, Oslin Topper, Michaela Burrier, and Gabe Dell ringside. We need to start looking for our Angus exhibitors, Gage Axline, Peyton Harris, Blair Heath, Lexi Zepp, Madison Oler, Jordan Oler, and Kelsey Troxel. Be ready to start bringing your Angus to the ring.
All right, so we've got 2 classes in our steer show here. I guess kids have done a good job and worked hard, but maybe they didn't meet the minimum weight or their average daily gain didn't meet the standard. So we'll sort through them first before we get into the market show. I thought the yellow paint here was minus his front end structure, definitely the best looking steer from the side, really up fronted, strong top, and then attractive out of his hip and tail head. When you move in and look down their tops, that steer's got the best turn in terms of a square edge from blade to loin edge of any of the cattle in here, so that's why he wins. Young man, pull your black calf up and set him up. The black calf here, a little bigger boned. He gets a little more bow-legged from behind. He may have more thickness to the base of his stifle. Like to balance him a little truer in terms of his front end structure and then chest to flank to rival that yellow and white one. The red Brockle steer the young man has a calf that's real deep bodied, takes a longer step than several of them around him, but he bows that hind leg when you get him behind him. That calf gets a little extra, he has a little extra brisket in him and just needs to be cleaned up in that region of his body. Young man coming next with his Angus steer. That calf there, and from a grading capability standpoint, quality-wise, looks as strong as any, just phenotypically. He's a calf with a bad attitude, and is a calf that needs to be leaner and just a little more expressive in terms of his muscle shape. But certainly will hang a good carcass. If he'd have cooperated a little better, he probably could have made his way up the line. Young man coming next here with this little British white calf, one that's real sound and correct in terms of his feet and leg structure. Just needs a little more red meat and product in him to go along with this frame. And the young lady here at the end, their calf was kind of riled up here at the beginning, and now he's calmed down, which is good news. But he's just a little too hard-bodied right now. Would need quite a bit more time on feed before he's finished and market ready. Let's give all those kids a big round of applause there.
Entering the ring now, we have our second exhibition class, which will include Oslin Topper, Michaela Burrier, and Gabe Dell. Results of our first class are as follows. First to Cheyenne Roberts, second to Caleb Weiser, third to Gabe Dell, fourth to Grafton Condon, fifth to Lloyd Arbaugh, and sixth to Peyton Reinhardt. Looks like my Angus cattle are rolling in here. So we should have the following exhibitors: Gage Axline, Peyton Harris, Blair Heath, Lexi Zepp, Madison Oler, Jordan Oler, and Kelsey Troxel.
All right, here in our second class here of cattle that didn't make the standards, you know, it's I'm not sure kind of what we're doing as far as you know, the weight we're starting some of the cattle at, and so maybe it's quite a bit bigger, and then you're having to hold them because in terms of 3 cattle, they just phenotypically look like cattle that would gain impressively well in a feedlot setting. All 3 of these look like they would accomplish that, but I guess we just started out quite a bit heavier and then calculate out like we needed to. The first one there is really good looking. He's got a really cool neck set in him. He's got a big back. He's really bold-bodied. He's even in his finish and high cut ability in his kind and really thick-ended. Like to change him up structurally off both ends. The steer we got there in second, real big-bodied, easy feeding steer, ought to grade extremely well in terms of quality. This steer doesn't balance maybe quite as good out of his top line and hip and hind leg, but certainly going to be a good carcass steer. And then the calf I put in third right here, he's probably got a bigger shape and turn down his top relative to what his weight is, and he's very expressively muscled. He just gets a little rounder and shorter there out of his hip. I like to see that steer just a bit more comfortable in terms of the bend built into his knee and front end, but a nice calf nonetheless. Congratulations to y'all.
Congratulations to our Class 2 exhibition exhibitor, Michaelia Burrier with first, Gabe Dell second, and Oslin Topper in third. Moving on to our Angus division. Our first exhibitor is Gage Axline with a steer weighing 1,103 pounds. This is a bred and owned steer and had a blue rate of gain.
All right, we'll talk him quickly. He's our first Angus steer, I guess, was considerably lighter, so he's in his own class. This steer here is, go ahead and take him on out. Easy. This calf's real smooth made and good bodied calf. He looks younger. You know, I'm sure he's probably just a little disadvantaged from that standpoint in terms of his final weight. Whoop. He's a calf that, you know, is just not as dense as what he will be a few hundred pounds from now, but he's still got a nice progressive shape to him. He's a good-bodied steer, and he's relatively sound in his feet and legs. Just a real pain in the butt.
Congratulations, Gage Axline, for first place in Class 1. Also, he will be our bred and owned Angus champion. So we will see him back at the end of the show to compete for overall bred and owned champion. Entering the ring now, we have Peyton Harris, Blair Heath, Lexi Zepp, and Madison Oler with Angus steers weighing between 1328 and 1378. Peyton had a white rate of gain. Blair Heath had a red rate of gain. Lexi Zepp steer did a blue rate of gain, and Madison's gained at a red level.
Well, this is a very, very competitive class of 4 Angus steers, very tight placing. Just share with you what I see because it's not straightforward. The first calf over there that I started, that calf is one that when he just comes in the ring, he looks balanced from his shoulder back. He looks up fronted, real big bodied, just one of those cattle that just looks like a fat steer in terms of being huge bodied and very muscular. He's stepping behind him. He's extremely thick from hooks to pins and down through his stifle. He's not as impressive right in behind his shoulder. I'd like to upgrade him there, but I thought collectively still he puts the most totals together in my mind. The calf we've got here in second, young lady, she got her foot stepped on, and so that's never good. It'll go away with time, but at the moment it certainly hurts. And this calf, he's probably got the best back shape to him. He is a little fatter in his cod, but he too is real big-bodied. Calf that's strong in his top line, reasonable in terms of his structure. Maybe just gets a little outmassed by the one ahead of him, relative to still having a little more cod and just pone fat. Then the interesting steer that for me is the steer in 3. And this calf, from a carcass standpoint, will have, I think, a lot of grading ability, just like the others in here, and be very, very muscular in terms of ribeye size, and particularly down into his hind quarter, maybe the thickest steer of the group. He's real big-bodied. 2 things that I question on him is just a little bit where we're at cutability-wise. He's packing a little bit more fat in his brisket, and then when you handle him, he's a little fatter over his rib cage than I'd like to see. He's got a little bit less balance in terms of just his hip and his hind leg design. So in a really strong class, I'd like to upgrade those 2 things, but he's right there in the mix just simply because he's the real thick-ended, burly one of the group. The one we've got here in 4, still a very good steer. You could argue that steer balance-wise is as good as any. Strong in his top, elevated up front. Thought he got a little bit narrower base and a little flatter to the outside of his stifle. Maybe not just as cracked open as the other 3 in front of him. Not perfect structure, but not bad. He's a really nice calf in a competitive class. Congratulations to all 4 of y'all.
Results of Class 2, Angus steers. First, to Blair Heath. Second, to Lexi Zepp. Third, to Madison Oler. And fourth, to Peyton Harris. Exhibitors are receiving 2 ribbons. The first ribbon is for their class placing, and their second ribbon is for their rated gain placing, which I will announce as they come in the ring. In this class, we have Jordan Oler and Kelsey Troxel. We have steers weighing 1430 to 1447. Jordan's steer had a red rate of gain, and Kelsey's steer had a red rate of gain. Hereford exhibitors. We need break 1 of our Hereford exhibitors: Grafton Condon, Kelsey Higgs, Jalen Velasek, and Lloyd Arball. This is your first call. Not going to take you long, hopefully, to pick this one.
No.
Maybe this and the champion Angus. There's only 3 to pick from, so.
Right.
Go. Oh, he's socializing. Shocking.
They got it covered.
He
They got it
me
covered.
of socializing. I gotta say, he opened gates for the whole Heifer show, so I guess I can't say much.
Gosh.
That's Kelsey. 2.
Well, I don't know what will come in later in our crossbred classes, but I will have to say through these last 2 classes, we have had some tremendous, just good feeding, good performing type Angus cattle that fit, our commercial industry extremely well. This steer that wins this group is weighing about 14 and a half. Is that too big? The answer is no. He's as big as all the cattle that we harvest in the middle of this country, and he has really got a powerful build to him. He's extremely thick and heavy muscled, really big bodied. I think he's on target for his finish relative to his weight, and he's still got a really nice show steering look up through his front end, very well balanced. Not perfect up front structurally, but very close to the mark. Jordan right here, I got to acknowledge Jordan here. Yesterday, she and then Hunter, if you are with us in the Heifer show, they're in the same class as 10-year-old showmen, were first and second, and that was a really close call. This young lady does a really, really good job showing and needs to be recognized for it. She's very professional, has spent a lot of time with her cattle, I can tell. And her calf is a little sounder up front, a little smoother. He travels pretty good. His hock over here is maybe a little larger. He's maybe not quite as just burly right to the center of his stifle. That's a good, complete Angus steer, Jordan. You've done a great job with. I'm very proud of you.
Congratulations, Miss Kelsey Troxel for first and Jordan Oler second. Entering the ring now, we're going to do our champion Angus drive. Out of the lightweight class, we have Gage Axline. Class 2, Blair Heath. And Class 3, Kelsey Troxel. On standby, we need Lexi Zepp and Jordan Oler for reserve. And again, Gage is our champion bred and owned Angus steer, so we will see him for the champion overall bred and owned at the end of the evening. Herefords, we need Grafton Condon, Kelsey Higgs, Jalen Balasek, and Lloyd Arball ringside. This is the first call for break 2 Hereford steers. Rihanna Cheney, Sheridan Cheney, Ella Jacobs, and Gabriella Wise. Please bring your Herefords to ringside.
All right, we're going to go ahead and move along here. We're going to have to work at an efficient pace here. I know the hour, and a lot of these kids may already be past their bedtime. But, the 3 Angus steers that we have out here, again, just I can't believe just how practical, how high-performing, how muscular these cattle are in this division. It's very, very impressive, and they just represent our industry very, very well. Between the 3 out here, the 2 heavier steers, obviously they're in contention. The one that's circling around in the middleweight steer, such a nice balance, big body, thick-ended steer. I'd like to push him back in that blade and knee just a little bit. If you had an opportunity to get on top of him, he gives up a little bit in terms of top shape. Then the heavyweight steer, like I said, weighing 14 and a half. That is not a problem. He'll still have a carcass that is nowhere near, big enough to be discounted in our industry. His kind are quite profitable to feed. So that calf, he's just a beast from the ground up. He's got so much bone, so much capacity, so much muscularity, and still holds his balance and composition from the side. That is a really impressive Angus steer. Young lady, you're going to have our champion. Let's give her a nice round of applause and congratulate her. And we got to get Jordan back in over there.
Congratulations, Kelsey Troxel, and here comes Jordan. We'd like to thank the Maryland Angus Women's Association for the donation of the Angus prizes that have been handed out here today. And Fry's Show Supplies, who are also have donated some hair care products.
All right, as we bring Jordan's calf in, as I mentioned, she's kind of drawn the short straw just a little bit here the past 2 days to be in that class with that steer, because her calf's really good, and a class with the Hunter yesterday, and that was a very close call between those two. And so, Jordan, I just want you to continue to keep your head up. You need to know how close you are here to winning each time, each day, because you're doing some really good things. That calf, I find him to be the soundest steer that we had in the show. I know when he first comes in, he's slick-haired and it doesn't make a strong impression. But that calf, when you get him behind him, he's not the powerhouse this guy is. He's still got a nice back shape in him. Probably got a little more back than the calf out of that middleweight class. And then he's still a little bit sounder. The other steer maybe just first appearance-wise a little more balanced, but that guy part for part, and he throws his head up and gets his front end together is awfully good. Hey, Jordan, you're going to have our reserve champion steer here. Pull him over here.
Congratulations, Jordan Oler, for reserve champion Angus steer. Entering the ring in just a minute is going to be our first class of Hereford steers. What? Entering the ring now, we have our first class of Hereford cattle with Grafton Condon with a red rate of gain. Kelsey Higgs, steer, had a red rate of gain. Jalen Velasek, blue rate of gain. Lloyd Arball, blue rate of gain. Steers weighing 1203 to 1273.
All right, we're trying to get him straightened out there. The young lady in the front circling there has got the class winner. A really nice steer. He just throws his head up, balances with the most effectiveness, and still has the most turn and shape just from his hip through his stifle. That's a really nice calf. Like to clean him up a little bit in his sheath, but compositionally just very, very superior and excellent on his feet and legs. Young lady there with the kind of the high stocking-legged, little louder marked, lighter red Hereford. That calf is from the side, maybe a little plainer through the floor of his chest or just the turn to his stifle. But you get him behind that calf. He's got a good square rump in him, a good shape down his top, the muscle difference is quite a bit closer. I just don't think he's quite as bold, right, in terms of his cage and just as sharp in his lines as that one that wins. The steer that we've got here in 3 that's a little louder marked up through his front legs, that calf, just a good, honest steer, very practical, but kind of ends up 3rd in here from just a muscle and red meat product standpoint. Down his top, he ranks 3rd. From behind, he ranks 3rd. He's a little heavier in terms of the floor of his chest. The young man down here with the big biceps is working hard to keep this calf's head up, and this calf just gets a little bit thicker and shorter through his front end, a little heavier through his lower body. Like to clean him up just a bit in terms of composition and cutability, but still a calf that's got some product when you get him behind him. Congratulations to our Hereford exhibitors there in that class.
Congratulations to our Class 1 Hereford steer exhibitors. First to Jalen Velasek, second to Kelsey Higgs, third to Grafton Condon, and fourth to Lloyd Arball. Entering the ring now, we have Rihanna Cheney, blue rated gain for her steer. Sheridan Cheney, blue rated gain for her steer. Ella Jacobs, red rated gain. Gabriella Wise, red rated gain. These Hereford steers are weighing 13.13 to 14.50. Attention in the Cow Palace, attention in the Cow Palace. Exhibitors, if you have marked to sell a lamb, or if you have signed up and have been approved to sell a lamb or a pig, and you decide to sell another species like a steer or market goat, please let the departments know as soon as possible that you're backing out from selling the lamb or the pig. We do have alternates, and we would like to fill all our spots. So if you have made the sale in sheep or in pigs and have decided to sell another one of your species, please let the superintendents know as soon as possible so we can fill those spots. Thank you.
So I'm sure most of y'all sitting around here have never been to Texas or never been to one of our steer shows, but in Texas we show by breeds in the steer show, but they're not papered. It's just based on their phenotype, and so it's a little easier to have a breed type steer come together with quite a bit of just quality and strength and power. It's a little tougher task when you're not truly showing crossbreds and y'all are showing pedigreed cattle. And I had to ask this young lady, it's like, y'all are showing pedigreed cattle here, right? Because this one that wins this class is, a darn good one. And that's an impressive steer to be a papered purebred Hereford. His front end quality is absolutely elite. He's got a really clean, chiseled out chest floor. Just a look of cutability for a Hereford fat steer is what I'm impressed with. And then just that type of cylinder shape to his cage, that type of lift just all the way through his lower body. Very sound set of feet and legs. I don't know what's to come, but they're going to need to be good because that one's awfully good. This calf we've got here in second. This calf is he's the most in line with that steer in terms of that extra length of neck and height of front end. He's a good-bodied, practical steer. In fact, all three of these cattle are a little deeper from the side than the steer I start. But this calf still got a good level of muscle shape running down his top. It's maybe a little more inconsistent than maybe the steer that wins in terms of how they touch and handle, but that's a good steer. These two calves that both these young ladies here in 3 and 4 have are awfully good. Sheridan steer, and they're very similar. Both of them are a little shorter and chuffier in their neck, a little heavier in their sheath. They're big-centered, easy-feeding cattle that work in our industry, and I commend y'all for what you've got. They're just not quite as clean in their look and lower body as those two steers in front of you today. Thought Sheridan's calf had a little bit more muscle between the pair. That was a close one, an awfully good class. Congratulations.
Congratulations, first place to Ella Jacobs, second to Gabriella Wise, who is also your Hereford bred and owned champion. Third place to Sheridan Cheney, who is also your overall rate of gain champion for the 2020-21 Maryland State Fair. And fourth to Rihanna Cheney. In the ring now, we're going to select our champion and reserve champion Hereford steer. From Class 1, we have Jalen Velasek with a steer weighing 1,256 pounds. From Class 2, we have Ella Jacobs with a steer weighing 1,390 pounds.
All right, pair of really good ones, but I think y'all know which one I like. The heavyweight steer here. Let's give this young lady a big round of applause on an absolutely tremendous Hereford calf. We'll roll that second place in here and make a decision.
Gabriella Wise entering the ring now with a second place Hereford steer weighing 1,450. Congratulations to Miss Ella Jacobs, champion Hereford steer. Congratulations, Gabriella Wise is also our reserve champion Hereford steer. We need to move into our Shorthorn division. Our Shorthorn division, Jonah Grossnickel, Francesca Bologna, Dakota Bernard, and Peyton Davis. Please bring your Shorthorns to ringside. Jonah Grossnickel, Francesca Bologna, Dakota Bernard, and Peyton Davis. Bring your steers to ringside. Crossbred steer exhibitors, we only have 4 shorthorn steers in our division. Again, there are only 4 shorthorn steers in our shorthorn division. So class 1 and class 2 crossbred steers, you might want to start thinking about heading our way. Again, we're waiting for the following shorthorn exhibitors: Jonah Grossnickel, Francesca Bologna, Dakota Bernard, and Peyton Davis. We're still waiting for Jonah Grossnickel. Jonah Grossnickel with your shorthorn steer and Dakota Bernard. Start making your way, please, to ringside. Jonah Grossnickel and Dakota Bernard. Entering the ring, we have Jonah Grossnickel with a shorthorn steer weighing 1061. This steer had a red rate of gain.
Well, a calf here, young man's got, he's in this lighter class just because there's such a big margin of difference as we step up to those heavier cattle here in a second. You know, he needs more time on feed, needs a little more fat cover on him, but this guy from a muscle composition standpoint is impressive. Down his top, particularly out of his hip, a super stout hip, big stifled, big-legged type calf. Good job to you, bud. Got a nice steer.
Congratulations, Jonah Grossnickel. Entering the ring now, we have our second class of Shorthorn market steers, Francesca Bologna, Dakota Bernard, Peyton Davis. Francesca's steer had a red rate of gain, Dakota's a blue rate of gain, Peyton's a white rate of gain. Steers weighing 1253 to 1348.
Well, a good group, but I thought the Strawberry Roan steer up there won pretty convincingly. Just a good, big-body, practical, fat steer. Super sound on his feet and legs. Is still the most massively muscled. Maybe doesn't touch, maybe down his top, just the firmest or most expressive, but they still got a big spread there over his loin. He's just a good steer. The calf that we got here in second, a little sharper fronted, maybe a shade more expressive, but not as mellow over his ribs, and he's a little bigger in terms of his rear hock and bows ever so slightly. The calf in front of him, I think, is just bigger bodied and sounder structured. The calf, young lady, that you got here in three, this Strawberry Roan calf, he's a real strong top, good neck, well-balanced steer. Just needs more shape and muscle built into his stifle. Like to see that steer maybe just a little flatter and cleaner in his joint. Use that hind leg just a bit better. But a nice set of cattle. You've done a great job feeding them.
Congratulations to Peyton Davis, first in the class and also champion bred and owned Shorthorn steer, second to Dakota Bernard, and third to Francesca Bologna. Moving on, we are doing our champion and reserve champion Shorthorn at this time. In the ring, we need Jonah Grossnickel, Peyton Davis, and Dakota Bernard.
All right, here in our Shorthorn division, the lightweight, that was a single entry. Good expressive steer. He's still a little bit in that feeder stage. Needs maybe a couple more 100 pounds before he's going to be, perfect in terms of market readiness. But he's got a good calf there. He's done a good job with them. 2 heavyweights for 2 big-bodied, easy-feeding cattle. I think they're awfully nice. Sounder steer that won that class. He'll be our champion, and we'll follow with the second-place steer. Let's give those 2 exhibitors a nice round of applause.
Congratulations to our champion Shorthorn steer exhibitor, Peyton Davis, and reserve, Dakota Bernard. Our last division of the evening is the all other breeds and crossbred division. Again, we show all other breeds and crossbreds together. Entering the ring, we have Lane Huff, steer with a white rate of gain. Hunter Hoff, white rate of gain. Emma Arball, red rate of gain. Eli Barber, red rate of gain. Mackenzie Gill, white rate of gain, and Cole Henley, blue rate of gain. Steers in Class 1 weigh between 1044 and 1106. Colt Henley, your class is walking in the ring. Colt Henley, your class is walking in the ring. At ringside, we need break 2, Kenley Nussbaum, Colton Nussbaum, Keegan McGrew, Austin Nussbaum, Candace Offit, Michaela Burrier. This is the first call for Class 3. He's coming. Okay, in the ring, we have one steer still heading down the aisle. He'll be here in a minute. In the ring, we still have 1 steer that's heading down the aisle. This is your first call for Class 3, crossbreds and all other breeds. Cheyenne Roberts, Hunter Huff, Bryce Zepp, Emma Arball, Kylie Mitchell, Wyatt Mast, Christopher Martin, and Logan Barnett. And here comes Colt. It's all right, Colt. We know they can be stubborn.
All right, here in our crossbred division, we're going to start. Young man's a black steer there at the white sheath. We'll roll him around there. That calf's just far and away the best carcass steer in the group. He's the heaviest muscled over his rib and loin, and he's the thickest when you move in behind him. And then he's big boned, he's up fronted, he's clean in his composition, but yet starting to get an adequate degree of cover on him for a lighter steer. The black baldy steer there in second is just the next best carcass steer. A calf that, as we compare him to the streak-faced, goggle-eyed calf here in 3, he maybe gives up some balance there to that calf, but he's got quite a bit more product right there behind his shoulder, quite a bit more stoutness to the center of his stifle. The goggle-eyed steer in front of me here, this calf probably travels as good as any, and he's a really good-looking calf from the side. He's a bit two-dimensional, though. You move in behind him, and just study his stifle shape. He gets quite a bit flatter, and then down his top quite a bit narrower. You'll see to increase his product to switch that 2-3 pair. Then we've got 3 nice British white steers. The calf that I've got here, the highest place of those 3, he gets a little deeper in his chest, but a good smooth finish steer that ought to grade well. He's a calf that I think's got a little more muscle turning down into him in his stifle and over his loin edge, a little more spread than Hunter's calf. Hunter's calf gets just a little flatter ribbed and a little tighter structured as he goes from behind. And Lane that rounds out the class, he come in, I asked him, what's your weight of your steer? And he said, you know, I had it when I came in the ring, and now I done forgot. But he remembered after we helped him out. He's a nice young man. Those kids have been doing a good job both days here. Calf's got some kind of unusual swelling there on the outside of his right stifle. It's kind of laboring just a bit structurally, just a little bit lame today, unfortunately.
Entering the ring now, we have Class 2 of all other breeds and crossbreds. We have 6 entries. Kinley Nussbaum, steer with a white rate of gain. Colton Nussbaum, white rate of gain. Keegan McGrew, white rate of gain. Austin Nussbaum, red rate of gain. Candace Offit, red rate of gain. Michaela Burrier, red rate of gain. Results from break 1, Colt Henley first, Eli Barber second, Mackenzie Gill third, Emma Arbaugh fourth, Hunter Huff fifth, and Lane Huff sixth. In our makeup area, we need the following exhibitors: Cheyenne Roberts, Hunter Huff, Bryce Zepp, Emma Arbaugh, Kylie Mitchell, Wyatt Mast, Christopher Martin, and Logan Barnett. This is the first call for break 4. First call for break 4. Crossbreds, all other breeds. Bryce Zepp were needed in the makeup ring. Bryce Zepp to the makeup ring.
All right, well, this is a little bit of an interesting class. You know, most all these cattle are pretty heavy muscled steers. And so it really comes down to the combination of structure and balance, but yet recognizing that probably none of them are perfect structurally, but just trying to best tie that together. The orange roan steer there, to me, that was just the best balanced steer in the group. I thought he was pretty clean-chested and high tying in his neck, like his top line, his hip, and his tail head set. He's big-legged from behind and square base when he goes away. He's got a lot of thickness down his top as well. And a calf that's coming along in terms of finish. He still could use a little more, but I think for his weight, he's about right. Just like to push him back a bit in his shoulder and his knee. Kinley here is in second, and she's got this smoke steer that is kind of ornery and turning the wrong way right now. But this calf, I think in terms of his frame size and his body, that relationship and just the way he balances, I think second best in this group. He's real big bone. That calf handles pretty good in terms of finish. Still needs a little more, but again, like the one that wins, I think he's coming along at the best rate. I'd like to see that calf just a little neater through the floor of his chest, maybe a little tidier through his cod, and a little more expressive there through his stifle. The black steer next, he's hairier, and he is cooled up through his front end. He's big bone. This steer down his top's a little modest and marginal right in behind his shoulder. Like to see him handle with a little more finish. He's a little barer than those two in front of him. And then young lady just gets too off for me from hooks to pins. We just need to jerk that up in him and square him down on his rear leg. The black calf coming next with the white belt coming up over the center of his body. That calf is, you know, he's kind of the clubby looking one out here in terms of being that big square rump steer. It's big bone, real clean fronted. Just getting a little too post-legged there in terms of how he drives out of those rear two, a little coarser in his tail head. The goggle-eyed, baldy, stocking-legged calf Cadence has next. The steer is pretty smooth in terms of his, you know, just blend from shoulder to forerib. Handles pretty good down his top. Calf that, for me, just got a little too darn straight up through his front end. Gets a little frailer and more rigid in terms of his hock and his rear ankle, and just doesn't look as comfortable in terms of his travel and wants to cut up a little more in his flank. Austin's got the black paint steer. Young man won his class yesterday in showmanship. This calf is going to be a great carcass steer in terms of muscle. One that just structurally has quite a bit of problems, just to be honest about it. And so that's why he closes the class. So let's give those kids there a nice round of applause. They did a nice job.
Congratulations to our Class 2 winner, Keegan McGrew. Keegan, we're also going to ask you to come back at the end of the all other breed crossbred division to compete for champion all other breed and crossbred for bred and owned. First place, Keegan McGrew. Second, Kenley Nussbaum. Third, Michaela Burrier. Fourth, Colton Nussbaum. Fifth, Candace Offit. Sixth, Austin Nussbaum. Reading down your program, 2-4-1-6-5-3. In the ring now, we have Cheyenne Roberts, steer with a red rate of gain. Hunter Huff, steer, blue rate of gain. Bryce Zepp, white rate of gain. Emma Arball, blue rate of gain. Kylie Mitchell, red rate of gain. Wyatt Mass, white rate of gain. Christopher Martin, red rate of gain. And Logan Barnett with a white rate of gain. Steers in Class 3 weigh between 1205 and 1271. I'd like to welcome our visitors to the Maryland State Fair. If you're visiting to the Maryland State Fair this evening, you're watching the Steer Market Show. These are market beef animals. Our judge is judging the animals on the product in which they have, and because they're market animals, we do like them to look a little pretty also. So feel free to pick your favorite out around the ring while the judge picks his favorite out around the ring. Thank you for visiting the fair. In the makeup ring, we're looking for Cheyenne Roberts, Hunter Huff, Bryce Zepp. Nope, those are in the ring. Sorry about that, folks. In the makeup area, we're looking for Class 4, Benjamin Northcraft, Colt Henley, Kylie Shoebrooks, Emily Vandergriff, Candace Offit, Ava Stahlberg, Ryan Leister. This is your first call for break 5. First call for break 5. Exhibitors will include Megan Kinney, Grafton Condon, Kylie Shoebrooks, Ty Stevens, Ashley Lescalite, and Jake Rippian.
Well, this is a very good class, really deep. You guys have done a good job feeding them. We've got some compositional differences still, but a little more to blame, probably just differences in maturity patterns. A couple of these black steers right here in front of me are just a little too late maturing. But as you start to look at the entire group, say compositionally, which when a judge says that, he's meaning the relationship of fatness to muscle. Who's in the best zone in terms of optimizing those two? It's easily Bryce's steer right there. That calf, he comes to the ring and he's fresh-haired and he's well-balanced and well taken care of. But that calf down his top is progressive in his ribeye size, probably the most even in his finish and mellow there to the handle. He's leaner than the one we've got actually in second, which is a positive. He just got a good tandem of grade and cutability potential in him of why he wins. He's a little bit finer boned off his rear leg. I'd like to stouten that hind leg up just a bit if I could, but that's easily the most complete steer. The steer we've got there in second, a little deeper bodied and heavier bone. That calf wants to get a little heavier through his brisket, though. Like to clean him up just a bit. I like his muscle and product and carcass potential. He's starting to get just a little too wide based up front, a little too wide based from behind. Need to pull him back into his framework just a little bit more consistently. The yellow calf that Wyatt's got coming around next, we start to run into some cattle that are really, really muscular but just a bit off structurally, is why I've got them in these slots. This blonde-colored calf, product-wise, length of body-wise, carcass weight-wise, as good as any in this group. I just have a little harder time accepting his structure up front. He's a little coarser in his blade, a little more forward in his knee, a little rounder out of his hip, and a little short and choppy in his rear stride. The black steer coming next, calf that's got some product down his top. He's a little patchier in his finish over his ribs when you handle him. Calf that gets a little crestier through his neck and a little deeper into his plate. Just looks a little too masculine up there relative to how he kind of draws up back to his flank. But a calf that's got a good shape and amount of product to him. This great calf that we've got right in front of me here, this was the most wild steer in the class. So if you had an opportunity to get right behind him, he almost looks double muscled. To me, he's just too extreme, and he handles his rear leg is a little bit concerning. He kind of pushes it, drives on the outside of his hock, just not near sound enough. As muscular as he is, I would have serious concerns about his ability to push into the choice grade. The calf that Logan's got next, this calf is one that he's done a good job with. He showed him real well yesterday. And he's a long-bodied, lean design steer that ought to cut well in terms of red meat yield. He's just a little bit too bare, though, over his ribs. I'd like to see him a bit more market ready and drop him in his heart and his flank. Logan did a great job. It was a pleasure to meet him the last 2 days. Hunter's coming around next, and another calf that's just real late maturing, real long and lean out through his front end. Same story as the calf in front of you. This calf probably moves a fraction better, but he's just a little flatter through his forerib and down his top. And then the blue steer that we round out with, and Emma's got a calf that just doesn't have the red meat and product as the rest of the cattle, but he is a little bit fatter than those two in front of him and probably will grade pretty decent. Let's give all those kids there a big round of applause on a nice group.
Results of Class 3. First, Bryce Zepp. Second, Kylie Mitchell. Third, Wyatt Mast. Fourth, Christopher Martin. Fifth, Cheyenne Roberts. Sixth, Logan Barnett. 7, Hunter Huff. And 8, Emma Arbaugh. We're now ready for our fourth class. Our fourth class of crossbred steers and AOB steers. Benjamin Northcraft is exhibiting a red rate of gain. Colt Henley, a red rate of gain. Kylie Shoebrooks, a red rate of gain. Emily Vandergriff, blue rate of gain. Candace Offit, blue rate of gain. Ava Stahlberg, white rate of gain. And Ryan Leister, red rate of gain. To ringside, we should have Class 5, Megan Keeney, Grafton Condon, Kylie Shoebrooks, Ty Stevens, Ashley Lescali, Jake Rippian. This is the first call for our last class of the evening, Class 6, Avery Pollock, Katie Mitchell, Wyatt Davis, and Ethan Zepp. Again, if you are showing a crossbred market animal, a crossbred steer, you should probably be ringside. Thank you.
Well, a really well-fed group in terms of the cattle here. I mean, all the way down. These cattle, now we had a few in the last group, still a little late maturing and lean. These cattle here, I think just every one of them's market ready. They got a ton of product. Some structure differences is what sorts these cattle in front of me over here on this side. I thought these two over here were the most on target in that respect and still the two nicest balanced cattle from the profile. This red Shorthorn mark calf, or Shorthorn Plus, I guess he would show as if we had that breed. He's a calf that I thought that calf just really hit the ring with a nice presence. He's so fresh-haired. He's market ready and big-centered in terms of having that big, robust, practical rib cage. But yet he still blends and comes up into his shoulder, neck, and head with an elite-type show steer look. You get over the top of him and handle him. He's got some real product, and he's even in his finish and touch. You get him behind him, calf's really thick. He's a steer, I guess, if we're going to pick on him, maybe could just release his rear ankle just a little bit more flexible, but an awfully good calf. I just thought he was burlier all the way through than this white-bellied black steer the young lady has in second. This calf equals him in terms of smoothness of shoulder. Maybe not quite as neat to the base of his chest, but he is really good in the way that it ties out of the top of his shoulder in terms of neck attachment. I like his center body, his length of rib, and just his depth and turn of muscle. It's not quite as extreme as the other one. I think he moves just a shade tighter and more up and down off both ends versus the Shorthorn steer, but a pair of really good complete ones. From there, we start to, again, drop into some cattle that are going to be incredible steers in terms of carcass merit. but they just don't travel quite as effectively. If y'all watch this yellow stock and legged calf coming next, he moves too far outside of himself whenever he travels from behind. He's a little heavier through the base of his chest and shoulder than he needs to be. You handle him, and I appreciate his market readiness, but he's probably a little fatter than he needs to be, but he's got a big old top, and that's why it's going to stay in third. The calf then that we've got coming next, this steer wants to get a little coarser and more open in his shoulder and his elbow. He pushes forward a little more than I'd like to see in his knee. He too wants to throw him a little wide from behind, just like the yellow calf. He's a lot like that steer. He's a little leaner, and I appreciate that, but he's also maybe just a little bit coarser in that shoulder relative to the boldness to his forerib. I just like to see that steer a little smoother there from the side. The black calf coming next year is one that is a little smoother, and he's pretty strong in his top, and honestly not bad right over his loin edge. But I got right behind the cattle. He read a little flatter through the center of his stifle and down into his inner quarter. He wants to get a little choppy in his rear stride and a little sharper hock. He's just not as robust as those cattle that have been placed in front of him today. Cadence is doing a good job here. This old calf's been kind of a butthead tonight. This calf is one that's got a big rib cage. He's got a big spread down his top. He'll have an impressive ribeye. Calf that just gets, I know I've said it on a few of them, but he does it to a greater degree, and that's why he's down here. He just gets way pushed out in his shoulder and kind of bows his hind leg, just not as sound as we need to make him. And then the black steer here at the end of the group, again, nothing wrong with his carcass merit muscularity. We're just way too straight and bucked over on his knee and short and cresty up to his front end. Let's give all those kids a nice round of applause, because I know we had structure differences, but they really did do a nice job feeding them and getting the right amount of cover on them.
Congratulations to Ryan Leister and Ava first and Ava Stahlberg second, Emily Vandergriff third, Colt Henley fourth, Benjamin Northcraft fifth, Candace Offit sixth, and Kylie Shoebrook seventh. Break 5 is entering the ring with Megan Keeney, Grafton Condon, Kylie Shoebrooks, Ty Stevens, Ashley Lescali, and Jake Rippian. Break 6, the last class of the evening, should be ringside. Avery Pollock, Katie Mitchell, Wyatt Davis, Ethan Zepp. Correction in our last class, first was Ryan Leister, second was Emily Vandergriff, and third was Ava Stolberg. Attention in the steer barn, attention steer exhibitors. If you are interested in nominating a steer that has already been shown, please come see Miss Bonnie at the table. It doesn't mean that you're going to make the sale. We are just trying to get an estimate and a number of people interested in nominating steers for the sale. If you are interested in nominating a steer for the sale, please let Miss Bonnie know what class, what breed, and she will mark it off on the paper so we know how many people are interested in nominations. Thank you. Attention ringside. We need to start lining up our cattle for our Crossbred division. We're looking for Colt Henley, Keegan McGrew, Bryce Zepp, Ryan Leister.
All right, really interesting class here for me as you work through the cattle again. Same assignment, trying to make them complete and balanced. And I like that black steer over there pretty good. He's a fresh-haired steer. It's well clipped and well shown and well presented. He's progressive in terms of his muscularity, but not extreme, you know. And he'll have an above-average ribeye. He's even in his cover, and a steer that moves relatively sound. So just a good complete steer. Ty's got the second place calf here with this calf that doesn't have much hair. He's a calf that's just a good meat and potatoes type calf. He's a little sharper in the set to his hind leg. A calf that's got a nice progressive turn and shape over his rib and loin. Real smooth and even in his cover and honest to the touch. A calf that's real wide based and pretty sound. So he doesn't have any hair. I don't know if that matters. We don't eat it. He's just a good carcass steer. The calf we've got here in 3, this calf's a Harrier. He's a little too big frame. I like to see a little more body capacity relative to that. He's a calf that just gets a little taller. He is a good-looking show steer, though, from the side. He's really level in terms of his top line, really tall fronted, really long out through his neck. Just need a little more body, need to handle him just a little bit mellower. Roan calf that comes next, standing there, certainly looks like a heater. He's a calf that's got a great look, a really nice show steer. It's well presented here from the side. He's going to have to handle a little bit truer in terms of just evenness of cover for me to work him up today. He gets a little bit post-legged from behind, like to alter him structurally. The black steer we got next, this calf is really big in terms of his back. He's also a little rounder in terms of his rump, maybe gets a little under himself from behind, wants to get a little open and coarse there in his shoulder. Gafton did a nice job down here. He's got a good smooth black steer. one that's got a decent top over his loin edge. He just wants to get a little bit plainer in terms of his balance and his chest floor. Like to lean him up, maybe just a shot, and give him a little bit stouter shape through his lower stifle and quarter. But a nice calf there. Let's give those kids a big round of applause in that class.
Attention, beef exhibitors. You are coming to simply nominate your steer. That doesn't mean your steer has made the sale. It means that you're telling us you're interested in selling your steer. The judge will make the selection when we have a list of steers that are interested in being in the sale. Again, you are just nominating a steer for sale. You are not in the sale. Results of our last class: Kylie Shoebrooks 1, Ty Stevens 2, Jake Rippian 3, Megan Keeney 4, Ashley Lescalite 5, Grafton Condon 6. Reading down your program: 4, 6, 1, 2, 5, 3. In the ring, we have our last class of the evening: Avery Pollock with a red rate of gain, Katie Mitchell, white rate of gain, Wyatt Davis, white rate of gain, Ethan Zepp, blue rate of gain. At this time, I need the following exhibitors ringside with your class winners. From Class 1, Colt Henley 1st, Eli Barber 2nd. Class 2, Keegan McGrew 1st, Kinley Nussbaum 2nd. Class 3, Bryce Zepp, Kylie Mitchell 2nd. Class 4, Ryan Leister, Emily Vandergriff. And Class 5, Kylie Shoebrooks and Ty Stevens. We now need, this is the first announcement, to bring your bred and own steers, your bred and own division champion steers ringside. I'm looking for Gage Axline with his Angus, Gabriella Wise with her Hereford, and Peyton Davis with a Shorthorn. Again, looking for Gage Axline, Gabriella Wise, and Peyton Davis with their champion division bred and owned steers. Immediately following the selection of our champion bred and owned, we will move into our overall grand champion. We don't need those exhibitors here currently, but please keep your ears open for the announcement.
All right, here in our last class, some big cattle, but still realistic, as we talked about in the Angus division and Hereford division. These cattle are not too big for our industry. This is just where we're at. This is a really, really good steer that wins this group. To be up there in the 1400 range, he still handles really on target in terms of his back and his finish. Still a lean, high cut ability steer that's got a show steer look from the side. He's presented really well. He's big hip. He's well balanced. Just a nice rig. The calf we've got here in second that Ty's got. Ty says he had a football game yesterday. I said, I asked him where he was at in showmanship. Say he's playing football. I can see why. That needs to be a priority for this young man. He's a big old stout young man, and he does a nice job here. This calf is not got much hair, Ty. Wyatt, excuse me, but this calf is really, really good. He pinches in his loin a little bit. He's a long, clean-fronted steer. He's long-bodied. He's got a nice shape to him, just a good, solid steer. He's a little cleaner in his makeup than the Blue Roan calf that we've got next. Blue Roan steer just a little heavier through his lower brisket and chest, and his shoulder maybe just a little bit plainer in the way that it lays onto his body. Like to maybe just increase his expression of muscle relative to that extra fat, but he's a good-bodied, easy-feeding steer there to go third. The red stocking-legged calf you have, young lady, a calf that I like his length of body. I like his bone in terms of how heavy-duty he is. He's a steer that's got a big ribeye set into him. Just for his frame, he's a little bit still raw. He just needs a little more time to put some finish down, and he'll be pretty heavy probably by the time we say it's 12 o'clock there is kind of the problem. But did a nice job. Let's give those kids in our last class a nice round of applause and congratulate them, please.
Entering the ring now, we have our selection of champion overall crossbred / AOB steer. Class 1, Colt Henley. Class 2, Keegan McGrew. Class 3, Bryce Zepp. Class 4, Ryan Leister. Class 5, Kylie Shoebrooks. And Class 6, Ethan Zepp. Results of our last class of the evening: first to Ethan Zepp, second to Wyatt Davis, third to Katie Mitchell, third to Avery Pollock, and fourth to Katie Mitchell. Immediately following the selection of champion and reserve champion, we are going to select champion all other breeds, crossbred, bred and own. We will need Keegan McGrew, Ryan Leister to stay in the ring and be joined by Wyatt Davis. Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if we do club groups or county groups, but we might as well announce it. Your champion crossbred lineup is all from Carroll County. Congratulations, Carroll County.
All right, well, a great crossbred division here, as you would suspect. You know, the cattle, I thought, you know, for the most part, particularly as we worked into those heavyweight classes, I was very impressed with the manner in which y'all got the cattle fed and put them together and made them market ready, give them an opportunity to push into that choice or upper two-thirds choice grade. I think you did a really nice job. You know, out here, I think we ended up, I thought, really each class, through my own eyes, with the most proportional, best balanced steer at the top. And I think as you look top to bottom, there's still maybe a few structure differences in this lineup, but they all still have that kind of nice, practical, fat steer look with good proportions from the side. So to me, as I analyze the group, you know, the three lighter steers are respectable. We you know, would like to see them probably just a shade heavier. We jump up into those three big classes, and we sure got three stouties. That roan steer that Ryan's poking on right there, that calf is really impressive in terms of having a show steer front end, coming back into that type of practical center body, If you had an opportunity to handle these cattle, he's really, really impressive in his rib and loin and his evenness of cover, and very square as you move in behind him. The black steer that's really nice, nicely fit and presented behind him, that calf's big-legged, good-bodied, profiles really, really well. You maybe compare him to either steers on either side of him. I don't know that he rips quite as square in terms of how upstanding his back shape is. He's honestly, although he looks real practical, and he is, he's maybe not quite as mellow as those two steers. He's a little tighter hided. I like the mellow feel of the other two cattle just a little bit better. And then the Ethan steer out of that last class, weighing 1460. And again, if we can weigh cattle, or I guess y'all weighed them and didn't turn in cards. I didn't really ask, but this steer doesn't strike me as too big just looking at him physically. He has really maintained that steer's composition well in terms of keeping him trim, keeping him high cutability. He handles like a man down his top, and he looks like a show steer from the side. Let's give Ethan a big round of applause. That'll be our champion crossbred steer.
Congratulations to Ethan Zepp. We need Wyatt Davis in the ring. Wyatt Davis with his second place Class 6 steer. We want to say a big congratulations to Ethan, as this is his last year in 4-H, so congratulations.
All right. We get the second place steer of Wyatt's in there, and that's a good calf, very respectable. For me, I thought it was a two-horse race, and I think they're pretty logical in terms of the way that I see them. My second favorite steer is going to be Ryan's Shorthorn Plus steer.
Ryan Leister, congratulations Ryan Leister, to our other Carroll County last year senior, who not only is reserve crossbred, but he is also champion AOB bred and owned. Congratulations, Ryan.
What time are you going to be around here tomorrow, man?
All right.
Are you working?
Now we're going to do
Are you on the schedule tomorrow?
bred and owned
Okay.
champions.
What time?
So I am looking for Gage Axline with an Angus. Gabriella Wise with her Hereford. And Peyton Davis with a Shorthorn. And Ryan Leister with a crossbred, all other breeds. Ryan, you'll be in last, hon. So here we go with our Angus. Our Hereford by Gabriella Wise.
I don't know what's the first.
Our Shorthorn exhibited by Peyton Davis.
So I probably need two people at 8.
And our all other breed / crossbred division, Ryan Leister.
But she could do it. I figured if you were going to be here, you want to be here at 8?
All right, so we're picking our champion bred and owned, and are we picking a reserve as well? Just a champion?
Yeah, well.
Okay. All right, hey, congratulations. That's 4 very nice calves to represent these divisions and for y'all to have raised them. Let's give Ryan a big round of applause back here on your champion bred and owned calf.
Congratulations, Ryan Leister. He exhibited the grand champion bred and owned steer at the 2020-21 Maryland State Fair, and it is Ryan's last year. Congratulations, Ryan. All right, ladies and gentlemen, are we ready to get some of our other steers up here? From the Angus division, we need Kelsey Troxel and Jordan Oler. From the Hereford division, Ella Jacobs and Gabriella Wise. From the Shorthorn division, we need Peyton Davis and Dakota Bernard. And from the Crossbred division, we need Ethan Zepp and Ryan Leister. Please make your way ringside so we can finish this show up. Again, if you've been in the ring showing and you would like to nominate your steer for the sale, please come up to Miss Bonnie and Miss Karen and let them know. And our judge will help us with the selection process. Again, the judge will help us with the selection process. Angus. Champion Angus, Kelsey Troxel, and Jordan Oler. Here they come now. Attention exhibitors, we are going to bring all eight steers into the ring. So we will have all champions and reserves in the ring. If you have nominated a steer, please stay here or come to ringside because we may need you. We are going to pick them tonight. Champion Angus steer, exhibited by Miss Kelsey Troxel. Champion Hereford steer. Champion Hereford steer. Exhibited by Miss Ella Jacobs. Champion Shorthorn steer. Exhibited by Peyton Davis. Champion Crossbred steer. Exhibited by Ethan Zepp. Our reserves. Reserve Angus steer, exhibited by Jordan Oler. Reserve Hereford steer, exhibited by Gabriella Wise. Reserve Shorthorn steer, exhibited by Dakota Bernard. Reserve Crossbred AOB steer, exhibited by Ryan Leister. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your grand champion lineup at the Maryland State Fair for 2021. Give these exhibitors a big round of applause. While we're making our selection, I would like to thank Dr. Ryan Rathman from Lubbock, Texas, for coming up here and judging our beef exhibitors at the Maryland State Fair. He has done an excellent job. He even brought us a little cooler weather today. Put your hands together, please, for Dr. Rathman and all his help and support and wonderful support to our youth over the last 2 days. Thank you.
All right, I don't know what time it is. When you're out here judging, you don't have a watch, you don't look at your phone, and so I'm sure time passes, and I know the evening got late. We didn't start the Hereford show until after lunch, and so, hey, we just had a lot of cattle and a lot of kiddos, and there's nothing wrong with that. It was a great day all day, and I appreciate y'all's patience throughout it. I've had a blast, and it's certainly a privilege to come up, and thank y'all very much for having me come up. Andy, appreciate it, and your crew. I did a great job here at the Maryland State Fair, and it's a real honor anytime you get to step in the ring and work with juniors. Like I said, I got 2 little girls at home. We have a ball doing this in 4-H. I believe so strongly in what this does for our young people. More than anything, just building their confidence and making them convicted about what they're doing, learning responsibility. It's a great, great program, and I see it every day. I see it in the college kids that I get a privilege to work with. That come from these programs. It just makes a real difference. And so continue to do what you're doing. Continue to do things with drive, with passion, and integrity. And if you do those 3 things, you guys are going to be successful. In terms of the steer show tonight, I have to be just real blunt. I was blown away at how good our 3 breed shows were. To have papered cattle, pedigreed, purebred steers come out of these divisions with the kind of heat that y'all had was really, really impressive. And then, of course, our crossbred division was extremely impressive. And so when you get to this juncture, again, we're just using the best steer, and that's the bottom line. Really all 4 of them suit me. But there's 2, and 1 in particular that I think is awfully, awfully special. And so let's put our hands together, congratulate these kids. I just again can't compliment them enough, and wish you guys the best of luck here with your families down the road.
Congratulations, Miss Ella Jacobs, Grand Champion Steer at the 2020-2021 Maryland State Fair with her purebred Hereford steer. Coming into contention now is Gabriella Wise with her reserve Hereford steer.
She's picking what now? Another one?
Congratulations, Ethan Zepp, reserve Grand Champion steer. We do need those exhibitors interested in selling to please stay close. We may have questions. We need you here through the nomination process. Thank you all very much. I'd like to thank the Beef Committee, all the ring help, all the exhibitors who came back to help our younger 4-Hers this evening. We couldn't have pulled this show off without you. Thank you so very much. Have a great evening.
Nice job, man. Really nice job.
Attention exhibitors, attention exhibitors. Miss Kelly now has in her possession a very nice Sullivan Smart Comb. If you have left a Sullivan Smart Comb on the bleachers, please come and claim it, because I'm telling you, Miss Kelly really likes it. Neon green, my color and everything.